What's going on, guys? We are finally live. I know we're a little behind schedule today, but we got a packed show, so welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's a Monday. Very exciting. We have some guests today. We have some more trivia games to bring to you guys. I'm going to just notify the world real quick that we're live. And then once I do that, we'll get rolling. So again, thank you for tuning in. Like I said, we have two trivia games scheduled for today. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit of a debate as well. Now, our first guest, we're just going to get right into this, and I'm going to actually talk at the end. Our first guest is here today with us on his birthday from New York City. That is Parker Brownell. Parker, how are you doing on this fine evening?
I'm lovely, Tristan. Thanks for having me.
Of course. It's such a pleasure. Happy birthday, first and foremost. And I'm excited to get into this trivia game with you. Now, what's interesting about this trivia game today is it's our first single player trivia game that we're having on this show. Now, it is it falls under the category of a beginner's trivia game. There are some more beginner-friendly questions. Essentially, how it's going to work, Parker, and our viewers, is you're going to get 10 questions, and they're going to get progressively more difficult, okay? Every question you answer correctly, you will get one small ball point, which I have described. I described a couple days ago. I'm not going to describe it again because, in the interest of time. If you are able to answer all 10 questions correctly, which admittedly will be difficult, but if you are able to accomplish that, you will receive a small ball T-shirt, courtesy of one of the coolest, most intelligent, appealing people in the world today, myself. So, Parker, I'm not gonna hold up our viewers or yourself. We're gonna get right into this trivia game. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna keep track of Parker's progress on my computer as we go. So if I, seem to be a little bit unfocused at any point, please excuse me for that. So, Parker, question 1 is, and you will have, I forgot to mention, you will have 15 seconds to answer every question. So here we go. Question number 1, how many Major League Baseball teams play in the state of Texas?
Texas? All right, let's see.
2 is the correct answer, yes. There are the Astros of Houston and the Texas Rangers of Arlington. So one small ball point for Parker Brownell. They're gonna get a little bit more difficult than that, but here we go. So, question number 2, Parker. Who won the 2019 American League Cy Young Award? Pass. Okay, so that's an incorrect answer. It was the Houston Astros' Justin Verlander.
I knew it was on the Astros, but I couldn't remember who it was.
Ah, okay. So that's, okay. At least you had that, but unfortunately you could not come up with the correct answer. Now, Parker.
Yes.
Question number 3. Okay.
All right.
What New York Yankees outfielder won Rookie of the Year in 2017?
Aaron Judge.
That is correct. Aaron Judge is the correct response. So 2 for 3 so far is Parker. And we're moving right along here to question number 4, which is, what's that?
No.
Okay. Who lost the 2019 World Series? Who lost the series?
Was it the Kansas City Royals?
That is incorrect. That is incorrect. It was actually the Houston Astros. Yeah. So, question number 5. Okay.
Yeah.
What player has the all-time record for total home runs in the major leagues?
Oof. I don't know. Hank Williams?
Incorrect. It is Barry Bonds.
Barry.
Barry.
The other day in baseball.
What's up?
I said we did this the other day in baseball.
Oh, did we? All right. Well, unfortunately, cannot come up with the correct answer. So, question number 6. How many World Series championships do the New York Yankees have in their history?
Let's see. 27.
That is correct. Another correct answer
Good
for
thing they haven't
Parker.
won since 2009, or else I would have gotten it right. Wrong.
There you go. There you go. Or maybe you would, because maybe you would have remembered that instead. But anyway, moving along. Question number 7 for Parker is this. What team, major league team, is Jacob deGrom currently a member of?
Give me a moment. Let me know when I have like 5 seconds left.
I will.
Yeah, I have no clue. I'm just gonna say the Astros.
It is incorrect. It is the New York Mets. The New York
fuck.
Mets. Yes. 3 questions to go for Parker. Parker, question number 8 is, can you name 2 teams in the American League Central Division?
Central Division. Let's see. Are the Minneapolis Twins?
Minnesota Twins, I'll give you that. Yes,
Twins?
that is
Are
one.
they? Okay. And then are the St. Louis Cardinals, or are they in the Nationals?
They're in the National League, and you have 5 seconds to come up with another.
Okay, then it is Colorado Rockies. Are they in the American?
Incorrect. 3.
Kansas City Royals.
That is correct. In the nick of time, the Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins. The 3 other correct answers you could have mentioned were the Cleveland Indians, Detroit Tigers, and the no. Hello. I was looking for a little bit of a bonus question right there.
I couldn't hear you. Sorry. What'd you say?
So you successfully answered with the Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins, and the additional 2 teams are the Detroit Tigers, the Cleveland Indians, and can you name the third?
Yes. Give me 15 seconds, and I'll come up with an answer.
All right. Unfortunately, we don't have that much time. It's the Chicago White Sox. Chicago White Sox. Moving on.
Okay.
Question number 9 for Parker is this. What player led the major leagues in home runs in 2017?
Is it Aaron Judge?
It was not. It was not.
Okay.
It was not. It was Giancarlo Stanton.
Second guess right there.
Was it? Okay, so maybe if you had another guess. But unfortunately, no. So then, now the 10th and final question, you are, so far you have 4 correct responses. You've come up with 4. The 10th and final question for you, Parker, is: can you name a Major League Baseball player who has more than 3,000 hits in his career?
Do I have multiple guesses or just one?
You have multiple guesses until your 15 seconds runs out.
Just out of curiosity, does Brett Gardner have over 3,000 hits or no?
He does not.
Oh, damn, what a bum.
Yeah.
Let's see. Current baseball player?
Does not have to be, no.
Okay, Babe Ruth.
Actually, correct. That is correct. Babe Ruth has accumulated over 3,000 hits. Some more recent options could have been Derek Jeter, Adrian Beltre, Alex Rodriguez, but Babe Ruth is a very acceptable answer. So thank you very much for that response. Parker, you have accumulated answers, and that will earn you 5 small ball points. Unfortunately, you were not able to win the grand prize. Thank you very much for participating. And before you go and before we move on to our next 2 guests, I'd like to just get your thoughts on what you think Major League Baseball should do, going forward this year. If they have to play without fans, should they do so? If they have to play a shortened season, should they do so? What do you think is the best course of action?
Well, I think the best course of action would be to play without fans because people can just stay home and watch it on TV and get the baseball they want to see. And, there's a risk to the players, but I think that with enough care, they could handle them in such a way that none of them would be exposed to Corona.
Yeah, I agree. I think you raise a good point, which is that, watching baseball is what we're looking for as fans, right? Obviously, ideal circumstances would be, fans in the crowd and a full season. But and congratulations, happy birthday as well. Again, it was a pleasure having you. I hope to have you on soon, another time.
Thank you, Tristan.
Of course,
Pleasure.
of course. So have a good rest of your birthday and good night.
Good night.
Cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, Parker Brownell came up with 5 correct responses, earning him 5 small ball points. Now, we have another 2 guests coming on, and these 2 guests are going to be competing against each other in another edition of categories, which we introduced on Thursday. Before we do so, I'd like to ask you, everyone who is watching this stream right now, if you could do me a favor, and when the stream is over, just find one person that you know has never heard of this show, and just tell them about it. Just say, hey, you. Probably realistically someone who likes baseball and is somewhat likely to be interested in this kind of a show. Just say, hey, you. There is this thing called small ball. You should maybe just check out and see if it's your forte. And if we could do that, if we could get everybody doing that, I think that would be greatly appreciated by me, because it will obviously do great things for the show and its fan base. So just to get that out of the way, now. We are coming at you with another edition of categories. We had on Thursday, we had a really, really entertaining and exciting game of categories, and it was down to the wire. So I'm just going to explain how this is going to work one more time, and then we're going to get rolling with our 2 new guests. So categories is a 2-player trivia game. The 2 players are competing against each other, and essentially how it works is there is allotted a certain number of points, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay. The 2 players will take turns picking questions. If they answer correctly, they get that number of points. If they get it incorrectly, their opponent can steal that number of points. But if they answer that steal question incorrectly, they will lose 1 point. Now, it is important to keep in mind that you must select 2 of each valued question. So essentially, you have to answer 2 1-point questions, 2 2-point questions, 3-point questions, and 2 4-point questions as well. Then, at the end of those 16 questions, whoever has accumulated the most points is the winner of that battle and will advance to the elimination round, where they will answer 4 questions from one from each of the 4 categories. If they are able to do so correctly for all 4 questions, they will win today's grand prize, which is again a small ball T-shirt. Now, I'd like to introduce today's guests. We are here with Daniel Challenger from New York City. Daniel, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. So our other guest is actually Daniel's brother, Dylan. Daniel, if you could just add him to this call so that we could be
sitting next to me.
Okay, that works as well. So let's get right into it, because I do want to have you guys. I want to talk a little bit of baseball after we're done as well. So not for too long, but I just want to make sure we have time. So I'm going to let Dylan go first in picking the questions because he is more familiar with this game as he has played it before. So Daniel, are you clear on the rules of the game?
Yes. What are the categories?
I will list them now, and you will have the ability to choose which one we start with. So the categories for today, 4 new categories we have. Under the radar, which tests your knowledge of sort of under the radar players who have either done extraordinary things or had an extraordinary game, but essentially players that are kind of sleepers in a sense. The next category is classic games. So testing your knowledge of games, historical games that have had a great impact on Major League Baseball as a whole. And just to clarify, all of these questions are from the past 5 years, dating back to 2015. The next category is firsts. So a little bit of an interesting category. It tests your knowledge of a bunch of different firsts, whatever that means. So it could be first time a player did this, or the first at bat of a certain game, or something of that nature. And the final category is prospects, testing your knowledge of major league prospects who have not quite broken into the major leagues yet, but are likely soon to do so. So Daniel, if you could pick the first category that Dylan will then select his question from, go ahead.
I think also get done. Prospects.
Prospects. Okay, so we're gonna start with prospects. So all of the 4 prospects questions will be answered, and then we'll move on to the next category. So, Dylan, 1, 2, 3, or 4 for you in the prospects category.
I'll take number 1.
Okay, starting off easy. So, according to MLB.com, the 2018 third overall pick is now the top pitching prospect in Major League Baseball. Who is that player?
Is it Dustin May?
That is incorrect. So Daniel, you now have the opportunity to steal his 1 point, but if you do answer incorrectly, then you will lose 1 point. So you can pass if you would like to do so. What is your decision?
I'll pass.
You will pass. Okay. So no points so far for either player. The correct answer was Mackenzie Gore. So Daniel, you now have the next selection from the prospects category.
I'll take number 3.
Number 3. Okay. The Golden Spikes Award is awarded to the most outstanding player in college baseball. Who won the Golden Spikes Award in 2019?
College baseball.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm actually going to give a very small hint. Just the correct answer is the 2019 first overall pick, Adley Rutschman of the Baltimore Orioles. So again, still 0-0. And I did forget to mention our first trivia game today was more of a beginner's game. This one is going to be very, very difficult because we have two baseball geniuses, if you will, with us today. So honestly, if half of these questions are answered correctly, that would probably be an impressive feat. So Dylan, you have the next selection, 2 or 4. Still tied at 0-0.
4.
Okay. In 2016, Fernando Tatis was traded to the San Diego Padres from the Chicago White Sox for which major league pitcher?
James Shields.
That is correct. So Dylan, actually, the first correct response of the day. Fernando Tatis was in fact traded for James Shields. So that is correct. And now, Daniel, that leaves you now with the 3-point question. I'd rather the 2-point question. Excuse me.
All right. Sweet.
The New York Yankees set a franchise record allotting $5.1 million in a signing bonus to this international prospect in 2019, the highest rated international prospect on MLB.com's list.
Jason Dominguez.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. Jason Dominguez of the New York Yankees. So Danny gets himself on the board and is now trailing Dylan 4-2. And now, Dylan, you can pick the next category, and Daniel will select the first question.
Can you remind me the category?
I can. Under the radar, classic games, or firsts?
Let's go under the radar.
Okay. Daniel, which question would you like to answer?
Let's do 3.
3. Okay. This scrappy veteran threw a no-hitter on May 7th, 2019. Who was he?
No-hitter. Was it Mike Fiers?
That is, in fact, correct. Mike Fiers of the Oakland Athletics was one of 2 pitchers in 2019 to throw a no-hitter along with Justin Verlander. Now, that does not account for the 2 combined no-hitters that were thrown, but he is one of 2 pitchers to single-handedly throw a no-hitter. So Daniel is now in the lead 5-4, and Dylan has the next selection.
Can I get number 2?
You can. In 2019, who won the National League Gold Glove Award at the shortstop position? That is incorrect. Daniel has an opportunity to steal if he would like.
Sure. I'll take the opportunity.
So Daniel now going for a 2-point correct response or a -1 point incorrect response. Daniel, who won the 2019 National League Gold Glove Award at shortstop?
Was it Trey Turner?
It is not. It is not. So the correct response was Nick Ahmed of the Arizona Diamondbacks, a fan favorite of small ball, one of the more underrated defenders in the league. And he did actually win the 2019 Gold Glove Award. So the score is now tied actually at 4-4, and Daniel has the next selection.
I'll go for 4.
4. Interesting. This is a long-winded question, but it's pretty interesting, so it's worth it. Here we go. 4 players in 2019 tied for the league lead in triples with 10. 3 of them were members of the Kansas City Royals. Speedsters Whit Merrifield and Adalberto Mondesi were two of the Royals to do so. Who was their teammate who also totaled 10 triples in 2019?
Was it Alex Gordon?
That is incorrect. Dylan, would you like to attempt a steal?
You said that two players were who?
The two other Royals were Adalberto Mondesi and Whit Merrifield.
Yeah, I would like to steal.
Oh, wow. A 4-point potential steal for Dylan. What is your answer?
Was it Frank Gore?
Incorrect. The correct response was actually Hunter Dozier, which is under the radar because not necessarily thought of as the speediest guy in the league. He actually did tie for the league lead in triples. One of the more difficult questions on this list. So Dylan now actually loses a point as well, giving Danny the lead back at 4-3, and that will leave Dylan with the 1-point question, which is, what pitcher had the lowest qualified ERA in 2019? Essentially, what pitcher led the league in ERA?
Was it Adam Ottavino?
Starting pitcher. I will give you that.
Jacob deGrom.
Incorrect. Daniel has the ability to steal that question. It sounds like he will take a gander. Is that true?
I would like to. Yes, I think it is Hyun-Jin Ryu.
That is in fact correct. Daniel, with the first steal of the day, brings his total up to 5, and Dylan's total remains at 3. So that will do it for Under the Radar. I believe, Daniel, actually, that is the first steal in small ball show history. So a little bit of a milestone right there. Like I said, yeah, there you go. Like I said, Daniel is ahead 5-3. Daniel, would you like to next go with the classic games category or the firsts category?
Let's do firsts.
Okay, Dylan, you have the first selection.
I'll go number 2.
Number 2, okay. Who is the first overall draft pick in the 2015 MLB draft?
Was it Dansby Swanson?
That is in fact correct. A fan favorite of the show. Dansby Swanson, actually drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks first overall and then traded to the Atlanta Braves before even making an appearance for their organization. So Dylan ties it up at 5-5, a close game so far. Danny, 1, 3, or 4 for you?
I'll do 3.
3, okay. The first pitch of the 2015 World Series was hit for an inside-the-park home run by which Royals player?
Alcides Escobar.
That is correct. The first pitch of the 2015 World Series was hit by Alcides Escobar off the glove of Yoenis Cespedes for an inside-the-park home run. So Danny with a 3 spot brings his total to 8. And now Dylan, trailing by 3, has the next selection. 1 or 4 for Dylan.
Can I go 4?
You can. So sort of a similar question to 3 in a sense. But the first pitch of the 2018 Major League season was hit for a home run by which Cubs player?
Kyle Schwarber.
That is incorrect. A good guess, but it is incorrect. And Danny has the opportunity to steal if he would like and take a commanding lead, or pass and leave his lead at 3.
I'll try to steal.
Oh, interesting. Okay, go ahead.
Was it Ian Happ?
That is in fact correct. Ian Happ homered off of Jose Urania of the Marlins to start off 2018 with a bang. So Danny now with a very, very substantial lead after a 4-point steal, up 12-5. And Danny will actually have now the number 1 point question in first, which is, against which team did Aaron Judge and Tyler Austin hit their first career Major League home runs?
Tampa Bay.
That is correct. The Tampa Bay Rays. So that brings Daniel's total up to 13 now. He leads 13-5, an 8-point lead. So Dylan is in need of a comeback here. And Daniel will have the first selection of Under the Radar. Excuse me, of classic games.
I'll go 2.
2. Okay. What was the final score of Game 5 of the 2017 World Series?
6-1.
That is incorrect. Dylan, trailing by 8, would you like to attempt a steal or not?
No.
Okay. The correct response is 13-12, and a high-scoring affair walked off by Alex Bregman of the Astros. So there are 8 remaining points to be won. Dylan will have to win, or rather correctly respond to all 3 remaining questions, barring a loss of points by Daniel, and that would tie him. Otherwise, Daniel will advance to the elimination round. So, Dylan, which question would you like? 1, 3, or 4?
1.
Okay. In the 2019 American League wildcard game, Yandy Diaz hit 2 home runs to send the Rays to the division series against which team? Against which team did he hit the 2 home runs? Not which team against in the division.
Against the Oakland Athletics.
That is correct. That is correct. The Oakland Athletics. So that brings Dylan's total up to 6. He trails now by 7. And Daniel, if you answer this next question correctly, you will advance to the elimination round. Would you like 3 or 4?
3.
Okay. Howie Kendrick hit a game-winning grand slam in Game 5 of the 2019 National League Division Series off of what pitcher? Or I should say which pitcher?
Joe Kelly.
Joe Kelly is the correct response. Daniel, now with 17 points, is 11 points ahead. 16 points is 10 points ahead of Dylan. So he cannot be caught and will thusly advance to the elimination round. Dylan, for extra credit, would you like to answer the 4-point question?
Sure.
Sure. In the 2017 National League wildcard game between the Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks, which relief pitcher hit a 2-run double to put the Diamondbacks ahead 8-5?
Archie Bradley.
That is, in fact, correct. So Dylan with the 4-pointer, but unfortunately for him, it cannot bring him to the lead. So Daniel will now advance to the elimination round. The final score is 16-10. And Daniel, you will have the opportunity, if you would like, to phone Dylan for one of these 4 questions. And if you answer all 4 correctly, you win a small ball t-shirt. And for every correct answer that you get right, you will get a small ball point as well. So even if you don't get the grand prize, you will be awarded some small ball points as well. So you can choose the order of these questions. So would you like the elimination question from Under the Radar, Classic Games, Firsts, or Prospects to start off?
Let's go first.
Okay. Manuel Margot is now a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. But which team did he play for first?
San Diego Padres.
That is correct. The San Diego Padres. That is correct. So 1 point for Danny. Would you next like Under the Radar, Classic Games, or Prospect to keep your game alive?
Under the Radar.
Under the Radar. Okay. Which hitter in 2019 hit the longest home run in Major League Baseball at 505 feet?
Nomar Mazara.
Nomar Mazara is the correct response. So Daniel now has 2 correct answers in the elimination round and needs 2 more to win the small ball t-shirt. Daniel, would you like Prospects or Classic Games next?
Classic Games.
Classic Games. Okay. On June 18th, 2017, Nolan Arenado hit a walk-off home run to complete the cycle against which National League team?
Was this against the Dodgers?
That is unfortunately incorrect. You had the division spot on. It was the San Francisco Giants. So unfortunately, you are not going to be winning the grand prize today. But for another small ball point, the prospects question is, this prospect was the 2nd overall pick in 2017, Hunter Green. What team is he a member of now?
Rays.
That is incorrect. You had the right first letter and number of letters. It is the Cincinnati Reds. So 2 out of 4 correct responses in the elimination round. A very strong performance from both Danny and Dylan today. Danny does come away with the victory. And again, I'd love to have both of you guys on another time to talk baseball and or participate in another trivia game. And before you run away, I would like to get both of your thoughts, if you would feel up to sharing, on how you think baseball would look without fans in the crowd. Obviously, it is less than ideal, but also gives us the opportunity to watch games. Would you guys be in favor or against an idea like that?
I think I personally would be in favor of the idea. I guess, one of the tricky parts is getting the players to agree on it, though, because as a fan, I love watching baseball. I'd rather do it as much as possible, but it may be tricky to get all the players on board with having to deal with all the complications that may arise from that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that's the number one concern right now. And it's tough, really, because there's really no collective bargaining agreement or anything, designed for this sort of a circumstance. So it's kind of just all they're just kind of winging it at this point. But Dylan, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think they played a game with no fans in Baltimore one year, I forget which year, but it was pretty recently because of some riots in Baltimore. And the game was weird, but it worked out, and I think the people are dying for sports right about now. So
For sure, and a lot of people are counting on sports to kind of bring the country back. And I think the overwhelming opinion is that playing games, even without fans, is definitely a good way to go. So hopefully, in the next couple of weeks or maybe even months, we will see some Major League Baseball games being played. But anyway, thank you guys so much for participating in today's edition of Categories. Daniel is the winner, and you will both earn 1 small ball point for appearing today, and Daniel will earn an additional 2 for the 2 correct answers that he had in the elimination round. Please do come back for another trivia game if you would like. Just because you participate does not mean that you are ineligible to participate in the future. I'd love to have sort of the same people on and run through some similar games if you so desire. So, any final words before I let you guys go?
no, thanks for having us.
Of course. Have a good night. Thanks again for appearing. So, you know what? That's pretty much going to do it for the show today. We got off to a little bit of a late start. Trivia games were fun again. I'm liking these trivia games, but I want to know what you guys think. I don't really have a good sense of what you guys think, and if you guys are enjoying them. It's a lot of fun for the contestants, but I'm hoping that you guys are entertained as well, you viewers. But let me know if you are, if you aren't, if there's something that could make it better. I'm trying to work on a trivia game that can include just viewers that aren't necessarily scheduled to be on that day, but might want to just kind of chime in. So yeah. So let me know any kind of feedback that you have on that front. I do want to wrap up just by saying there's been a lot of sort of lists, right? Sort of top 100 type things that people are coming out with, right? Because there's no baseball, so there's people need stuff to talk about. If they want to keep the MLB sort of talk up and such. And I want to critique some of them. I want to talk some of them. MLB did their top 100 players right now, as they do every year. And I told you guys I was going to talk about some of that stuff, and I never was able to get to that. So just as sort of some foreshadowing here, I definitely want to talk that kind of stuff coming up. But we are going to continue with these trivia games, some of these debates that I'm setting up right now as well. Hopefully we can get some guys to get in here and duke it out, with their words and talk baseball and such. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. The feedback would be really appreciated, heavily appreciated. And if you could also, just like I said, recommend or not even recommend, just let someone know, just one person, right? If every viewer just lets one person know about small ball, that would be greatly appreciated as well. But yeah, again, the biggest thing right now is the feedback. I'm really interested in what you guys think of these trivia games. And let me know if you want to participate. Just DM the Small Ball Instagram or get in touch with me however you want. You can comment on my channel, whatever the case may be. Just let me know if you are interested in appearing on the show in any way, shape, or form. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in today on this Monday. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Not sure what the schedule is for tomorrow, but I will let you guys know in advance. And thanks again. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow here on Small Ball. Peace.